of am I going to like it or not. You know, there's so much content, but, and because of so much content, it's such a big decision to actually watch something. And I find myself being very, like, anxious about, should I watch this or should I watch that, you know? So repeating has become like a comfort thing for me. I keep repeating. So I tend to be a completer, and I tend to be a repeater if I like something. Like I've seen Narcos and several times, and I've seen a lot of shows that I like, I've seen 2 times. Even there's a show called The Wire. It's a very old television show, actually. And I recommend everyone to watch it. Some 5 or 6 seasons I've seen 2 times. So I like repeating.
Yeah. Swastika?
I do a lot of recce and a lot of studying before what I want to watch. Because I want to watch them at a go, and I only opt, to watch long series if I know I can watch it in one night or maximum 2 nights back to back. Because otherwise I keep forgetting as to what has happened, in one of the episodes, and I have to go back and re-watch that entire episode to, bring my memories back. And I do watch a lot of those documentaries that are there on Netflix, because they are limited series and they have 3 to 4 episodes, so it's just less time consuming. But I did finish the Squid Game one, which has just come out.
Yeah,
the reality show based
challenge.
on, So that I watched, and of course I watched Kala Pani. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so once we get into this topic that we're going to be talking about today, for each of you, irrespective of platform or medium, what for you makes for a successful film?
For me, I think the success of a film primarily depends on 2 things. One, whether I am happy with the film or not, because my first audience is myself. And I've always maintained that whether a film succeeds or fails, there is no formula to it, at least none that I know of. So the only person I can cater to in that sense is myself.
Correct.
So I would make films which I would happily watch. So the first parameter is myself. And the second parameter, and the more external parameter, is, and mostly from the perspective of the producer, because he's the person who's investing financially in my narrative or in my dream or whatever, in my story, is it getting the maximum amount of audience that it is supposed to, or I expect it to. So that is purely an expectation-based parameter, and it's a very, it's a combination of a quantitative and a qualitative parameter. It is quantitative definitely, but it is also qualitative because it's targeted. In the sense, I feel that after making a particular film, let's say if I look at my filmography, if I make a Nirbak, the expectation of its audience base, and let's say if I make a Zulfikar, or more recently a Dosham Avatar, the expectation of its audience base will be different. So, based on that expectation, am I getting that audience quantitatively or not? So if I get it, then of course it's a success. If I don't, then it's a failure.
Right. That's a good way of looking at it. Interesting. Imtiaz?
Everything that Srijit says is valid for me, I feel.
The advantage of starting off with the answers. You serve.
No, but everything that you've said actually makes all the sense to me and to most directors, I feel. Because we cannot also underplay the fact that somebody has invested money in us, in our dreams. And if we want to continue dreaming and making them into reality, we better make sure they get their money back.
Right, yeah.
And so I think that the kind of money that has been put in, has it come back or not to those people that put it in? That is an important thing for me in a very impartial business-like way. Apart from that, I feel that it's a subconscious, like instinctive realization that, oh, I think this movie has been good, like successful. It's subconscious. There are so many facts and figures and so many people's opinions, and you know, some people feel that, Arey, how do you not realize that this film is a flop? And how do you not realize that this film is awesome? And so on and so forth. But there'd be somebody else having a completely different narrative as well,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
because films are so subjective, personal. But then still, somebody over a period of time, it's like you come to realize through ESP, extrasensory perception, that, oh, this film is good or bad in terms of successful or unsuccessful. Most of who tells you this is yourself, actually, because आपको अंदर से पता ही रहता है. But that's what it is. I don't rely on any one particular thing, least of all critics, to tell whether a film has been successful or not.
Right. Swastika?
Are you a critic?
Yes.
I don't know. I think my take will be very different from the directors.
Yeah, of course.
I
Yeah.
feel if your audience and people are still talking about the film after a decade or after 5-6 years, like me and Shrijit, we were just discussing on our way to the auditorium that clips and, you know, parts of Jatishore and Shahjahan Regency. Jatishore released, I think, in 2013 and Shahjahan Regency in 2018. Every week, people post clips of the scene on social media in different context, you know, and they just constantly talk about it. Or in that case, Bhuter Bhobishyat.
Yeah, of course.
It released in 2010, and people are still talking about it. And wherever I'm traveling around the world, Bengali especially, but people who are not Bengalis also, I've met tons of them who have actually watched that film, more so after it has come on the OTT platform and, you know, it's available. And with this man sitting here, I think Jab We Met is my, or tons of women like me, it's our antidepressant, you know.
We are repeaters of that.
Yes.
We fall into that category.
Full-blown repeaters, and you know, it's just like a sunshine on a very dull day. And we have just gone back to the film for very different reasons.
Right.
And it just has the same call and the same feeling. So I feel as an actor, if your work is getting, you know, being watched and rewatched over decades, and people feel the same excitement and the enthusiasm and happiness watching it, I would really feel that, you know, this film is a successful film for me, whether I have been a part of it or not, because the repeat value is so huge.
Can I add something to
Of
that?
course,
It's a
yeah.
very, very nice example which Swastika just pointed out. So, Jatishore and Shahjahan Regency, both according to her, and I totally agree, are in that sense successful films because people still talk about them, people still discuss them. But when they do that, they don't realize when they released, they are the rare box office failures in my filmography. I wear it like a badge of honor because I think later, through OTT, through other modes, it got the audience which I expected it when I made it for it to get. So which is why immediate box office return might not be the only parameter of a success of a film. And in fact, if you look at his filmography, Tamasha is an absolute favorite of mine. So is Rockstar, so is Sochana Tha. But none of them got the box office success of a Jab We Met or a Highway, possibly. But we still talk about these films. They are still, in fact, they are bigger cult films now than they were when it
Right.
released. So for a film to grow, there are more avenues apart from immediate box office which are needed to actually judge whether a film is successful or not.
Right. You know, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because my next question was that, and you've kind of partly answered it, is that would we then say that a film, say, which has maybe released directly to digital, or as you said, released in theaters first and then made its way to digital, could we say that it is more successful, quote unquote, relatively, because it's there for a longer time, it's there for posterity, people have the luxury to watch it over years and watch it many times over, unlike in a movie hall where it's only there for a certain period of time. Most films come and go within a week or 2 weeks, 4 weeks if they are hits. Would that be a correct thing to say in that sense? If you're just not going into the numbers or anything, but just in terms of impression?
Absolutely, and it also enables the film to seek out its audience. That is also very important. A film, given the distribution, the exhibition trappings of the system in India, a film might not seek out its audience, and the correct audience might not seek out the film given the exhibition and distribution constraints. And OTT gives you that option. If you go back a few years, today's OTT is yesterday's DVD or CD or videotape. So an Andaz Apna Apna, which is a cult classic right now, failed miserably when it released. A Jaane Bhi Do Yaro, which is a cult classic right now, only succeeded later when it released on DVDs and VCDs and tapes.
Right.
So there what happened is the correct audience sought out the film, and the film also sought out its correct audience. So that option is there in case of OTT. It enables that aspect.
What about the two of you? Do you believe, what do you think about success of films on streaming platforms?
Actually, everything that Srijit said again
I think
is
we will start from there the next time. I'll just pick up.
But yeah, I feel that we have reason now to be very happy that, you can make different kinds of films and shows, content of different duration, in fact, and put them into the suitable medium for that film, which is not an option that Srijit had, let's say, 10 years back, or I had 10 years back. And so it is then easier. For instance, I'll give you an example. The first OTT show that I did is called She.
Right.
That's there are two that I've done, so that's the first one. And I had this story for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking about making a film on She, and I was thinking of how to do it, etc. But it never fitted into the duration of a feature film. To put it into 2.5 hours was just not being possible. And even if I was thinking about it, it was becoming very plot-oriented. So almost all the reasons for me to make that film were getting cut out of the script. When the OTT option came, then I realized I can make it. And the moment I pitched it, it just carried. And, it just got made. And that option is available, and we must, as filmmakers and artists, feel happy that we can do that. We don't have to force fit one type of content into another.
Because of which I think a lot of projects also in the past got shelved, didn't get made because, they had to fit into the medium of a film and its demands, right? A theatrical release.
Yeah, also, let me also say that I was just thinking while you were discussing about those films that have had legacy before the advent of any alternate media, only films. So there was, of course, the Mughal-e-Azam, there was, of course, the Sholay, and there was, of course, like those 20 films whose names we know, but only 20 over a period of 50 years, right?
Yeah.
So very few films would made it to the legacy bracket. And what about various other films that for some reason have not retained that? Those films will never be watched. And there are brilliant films in every language. We were just talking about many films in Bangla that Srijit is kind of working on and is laboring to bring to the fore through his films. It's a brilliant idea. But there is so much that gets lost. now there is opportunity to showcase all of that. So I feel it's a positive time.
Right. Swastika, you have anything to add?
A film like Ijazat,
Of
like
course.
I've watched it later, and I've hardly met any person who has not watched the film. But my parents told me that when the film released, it actually didn't, work, and people said that it was way ahead of its time. So if OTT was not there, I feel my generation or my daughter's generation, they would not have the opportunity to watch these films, which are pieces of art. And, if only there was the box office, understanding of whether this film will be available to the audience or not. So, yes, and I feel it's a great, it's opened up a great space for actors and people in the entertainment industry. A film of mine which is called Tasher Ghor.
Yeah.
It's there on Hoichoi. It's a 47 minutes of monologue. I'm the only actor there. So if my director wanted to make it as a film, he would need to then drag it beyond its time, and it would have become something that he didn't want to make. The 47 minutes is what is apt for
Right.
that film.
Right.
And if it didn't have a OTT release, it would have just gone, to short film festivals. But it doesn't. The possibility of thousands and lakhs of people watching the film would just not be there at all. And it was a risk, but because, it's OTT and, people are ready to experiment, you can work on the budget, and we could do a film with just one character speaking to the audience, and, you just see her life that way, which is a story I feel is amazing, and I'm always very proud of that work of mine. So, yeah, I mean, these possibilities are opening up now, and also the films that have been made decades ago, you still have, at that point that it's for posterity, I think it's
Yeah.
most important, because you're just leaving that amount of work for the generations to come. They can watch it, and the film can just live longer that way.
Right. This is more for the directors, but how does one gauge, the success of a film on a streaming platform? I know that, streaming platforms, unlike box office figures, give out, the top 10 lists, the global top 10s, the global top 3s, this many minutes, this many million minutes watched or hours watched. How do you gauge, like, if a film of yours is on a streaming platform or any other film, that whether it's done well or not? Is there a way?
There is a way, I think, but then unfortunately you have to rely upon the service, like Netflix or Amazon or whatever, to give you the stats. So you have to rely upon the person who's your business associate in this case. So because they do a study, they find out the numbers that they have done. Those numbers speak to them in a different way, but they don't speak to us in the same way, because we don't understand whether 571 points is good or bad, But they have their own ways of finding out. So you've got to take their word for it. When they say it's done well, it usually, you've got to take it. But again, if you rely on ESP, then you will get to know whether it's done well or not. Because there was a time when for instance, I started making films. I didn't really understand the numbers of box office also, honestly. That what does this mean? It has done well, these many theaters, these many shows in so many cities. They didn't speak to me at that point of time. It's only but I knew that it's done badly or well. Now it's the same situation for everybody in the digital platform. Beyond a point of time, we'll understand how to gauge the numbers, etc., and know for sure whether it's done well or not.
I am an absolute, contrast to that because till 2008, I was working as a professional econometrician and a statistician, so numbers speak to me all the time. So, be it box office, be it OTT. In fact, in case of OTT, it's a fascinating subject because these parameters are new parameters which are being developed by the streaming platforms. So, when I make a web show or when my film releases, I actually go and irritate the hell out of the platform executives to get the actual numbers, and not only the actual numbers, also how these parameters have been derived, what is the algorithm which is being used. So if you're saying one completed stream, how many minutes are you assuming? What is the subscriber base that is increasing? How much of the increased subscriber base can be attributed to your show? So things like these. And so that I know that, okay, so critically acclaimed or not, you can find out by seeing what is Priyanka Roy saying about your series or what is a Bharadwaj Rangan saying about your series. But for the numerically driven, like me, for me, if you have to take a box office parallel of an OTT series, then I actually get behind the scene, look at the numbers, and then I understand, okay, I mean, let's say Chinnamasta Robishap or a Darjeeling Jomjomat is much more successful than, let's say, a Reka, or a Jabaz is far superior in terms of numbers than, let's say, a Ray, though Ray was more critically acclaimed. So all of these parameters, the parameter matrix becomes very clear to me. And of course, there are two very easy thumb rules for understanding whether it's worked or not. The keenness or the promptness of the platform or the production house to give a success party. So that is a very
That's a good way to gauge.
important parameter. And the second is how fast are they contacting you for a second season.
Yeah.
So these two are very useful, handy, parameters.
Right. But all three of you, are you still kind of romantic about the idea of seeing your films on the big screen on 70 mm? Because that is what has always been the big dream, right, when you started out, to have your films released in theaters? Or have you kind of learned to adapt to changing times and different platforms?
Well, I've been working since digital did not exist. We had the big cameras which made a lot of noise, and particular quantity of films used to come on a daily basis. And we knew that I've even worked in full dhamal commercial films where we were told at the end of the day that only this much of film is there, so we can rehearse as much as we want, but we'll have to get this right at one take. So I really saw, from that to, I've been working at a time when there were no monitors. Everything was the director and the DOP's eyes.
Right.
We could only see ourselves much later, or again do patches of shoot or some reshoots because some configuration has gone wrong somewhere. So from there, everything, I've just seen the change of everything becoming digitalized, and directors have the pleasure of taking 25 takes because, there's no dearth of digital space. So yeah, I feel the butterflies inside our stomach works differently when we see our faces, in halls, and the experience is always very, very different. You see your face on posters, and you see people thronging, to the theaters, and the experience in a dark space. And I feel every feature of you and your face and your muscles, a very, very tighter close. You can see everything of an actor, and it's just that up close and personal, which maybe, people are missing out because nowadays everybody watches everything on a phone. So it's from 70 to I don't know what's what really we get to see on a phone, and how much of the performance really comes across when we are watching on such a small, minute scale. But saying that, I also feel that, early this year, I had traveled to Ahmedabad for work, and me and my manager, we were going to this old Ahmedabad place and doing touristy things, like visiting a mosque and, seeing the forts and imambaras and all of that. And in that secluded part of the old city where hardly there were people, I couldn't believe that, someone came up to me and tell me that आपका Netflix में आपका film देखा है मैंने कला, or somebody was talking about criminal justice. So I was really, speechless and shocked. I should have felt happy, but I couldn't believe that in such parts of our country where we would not expect that you would have a Disney Hotstar or a Netflix kind of, audience, they were watching it and they remembered. And of course, when you're seeing an actor on screen and how you see them in real life, they look very different. So I was also looking very different, but I was quite astonished. And later on when I was traveling, wherever I went in the country, I was very surprised that absolutely not expected audience were coming up and telling me that they're seeing so much of work of actors from all over the country because OTT exists.
Right.
So I think that's a beautiful change, and we should all be happy about it, because Srijit is also doing so much of work, in the national space. I don't think if it was just restricted to films, that would have been a possibility. But yes, since I started so young at a different time, the excitement and the nervousness and the anxiety and the happiness, all of it is different when you walk into a theater and, watch you so big and so bold. So, yeah.
Very clearly, I'm always thinking big screen.
Ah.
I can't help it. I'm thinking of how a shot will appear, how the next shot will follow it, and there's certain half-baked visuals going on in my mind when I'm writing also. Writing the screenplay, you're thinking of those shots, and in a way, because I'm a director, I know it's some sort of a short breakdown also going down, that iske baad ye aayega, then after that it will be this, and then there'll be this kind of close or whatever. So always on the big screen though. And how is the audience reacting? Always on the big screen. And I know that that's just the training that I have. That's what I have always thought, and I continue to do so. And even if I'm directing something which I know will primarily be seen on not a big screen, but I can't help making it for the big screen, then it's almost like a different kind of a zid. That let me make the most cinematic picture if it has to come on the small screen. Yeah,
Right,
so that also becomes an interesting. Because even as an audience, when I'm looking at something on the OTT, and I watch OTT on a television screen, I'm looking for cinematic experiences. I'm not looking for something which looks like boxy and TV. Sorry to say that, but yeah. So I'm trying to create always a cinematic experience for a big screen.
And I think filmmakers are also doing that, right? I don't think they cut corners, or they kind of, like if you look at big scale shows also, they always, mostly it's made in a very cinematic kind of a way. Like even if you look at shows, say Indian shows, like say a Special Ops or something, I mean they make it very larger than life. They will have the big sprawling, the deserts and all of that. I mean, they're well aware of the fact that some people will watch it on the smallest screen possible, and yet that doesn't stop filmmakers from doing that, because that's the vision and that's the idea, right?
That's actually a very interesting point. It's a very interesting topic because there's an ecosystem of lenses which kind of defines what you're making for. And when I write something, I decide that whether I'm going to write it for the big screen or whether I'm going to write it for web. But even there, for me, for the lensing purpose, it is something which is in between the boxy TV experience, which Imtiaz was talking about, and the big screen. So if I'm subject-wise, or character arc-wise, or length-wise, for example, he was talking about stories which require a certain runtime to develop backstories, to develop subplots, which can't be, retrofitted in 1.5, 2 hours. So for such topics, I know that it is going to be a web material. Even there, I will not absolutely resort to lenses which cater to the boxy experience. And, platforms which have supervisors and in some cases, irritatingly interfering supervisors on the set, they give feedback like, sir, not enough closes. So this is their way of saying that you're going the cinema way. You're using wide lenses, you're using mid lenses. Please remember that people are going to watch it mostly on a phone, maximum on a TV screen. So I want to go closer to the actors. I want big close-ups and stuff like that. So now that is an absolutely aesthetic war or aesthetic battle that goes on. And sometimes we win that battle, sometimes we lose that battle. But I also, like Imtiaz, I try to push for lenses and shot taking and shot division, which gives a cinematic experience, even if it's for a web show.
Okay. Any of you can take this first, but is it true? I mean, a lot of filmmakers, actors say that, of course, when you release anything on streaming, particularly a film, of course, that the pressure is off to a large extent because you don't have the pressure of a Friday box office, of an opening weekend, of numbers weighing down heavily on you. Is that even possible to not have any kind of pressure or nervousness while releasing a product on a streaming platform? And the second part of the question is, what is this obsession that over the last couple of years our audiences have with box office figures? And I'm talking predominantly about Hindi films, where everybody wants to know how much a film has made on the first Friday or the first weekend, rather than appreciating a film for what it is or wanting to know what a film is about. Nowadays, you will find trade analysts and critics, a lot of critics also on Twitter, and now known as X, also giving out figures like, this so-and-so big film that is releasing on this Friday till Wednesday has sold 2 lakh tickets at this particular multiplex, and this one has, lagging behind by 1 lakh tickets. That kind of stuff is happening. So basically, first, is the pressure off, or the pressure will always be there? And secondly, what is this obsession, and why do we have it in our country? I don't think we have it anywhere else.
See, if you have a social media profile, the pressure is there. Only if you're living in the Himalayas, away from X, Facebook, Insta, and the other social media conduits, there will be no pressure. Otherwise, as long as there is social media, as long as every move of yours is being quantified, analyzed, dissected, evaluated by people who are experts and people who are not experts, there will be pressure. And of course, you have other parameters which we were discussing in the beginning of the conversation. So there will always be pressure if you're in the public sphere. So that is there. And as far as the obsession with box office numbers is that one part of it comes from a very, the very subjective nature of our craft. See, unlike sports, when a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma makes 100, they make 100. It is not that Priyanka Roy is saying, no, Virat Kohli, it was a good 26 from him. And a Bharatraj Rangan is saying it was a fabulous 228 from him. There is no subjectivity to performance in the sports arena.
Right.
So you know for certain this guy succeeded or this guy failed. But for a critic, Tamasha might be the greatest film in the world, and for another critic, it might not. Similarly, for a member of the audience, Dosham Avatar might be a brilliant film. For another member of the audience, it might be an absolutely bakwas film. The point is, there is no objectivity to opinion. This dependence on box office numbers is, in my mind, mostly to seek objectivity, so that there is some objective parameter to a film's success. It is not my opinion versus yours. It is not, I love pink versus I love orange. Pink is bakwas. So that search for objectivity is, I think, behind this increasing trend or increasing interest and increasing obsession with box office numbers. There, you can't argue, that you know nothing about films. You've not seen Tarkovsky, so you don't know what Tamasha is all about. So you can't come up with, logic like that. So I think that is what is behind this obsession.
But Srijit is one of the topmost directors who constantly puts up figures on Instagram. I have just seen more number posts than actually film poster posts on Instagram.
Guilty as charged.
His handle is absolute about box office numbers.
I used to share reviews once upon a time, but later my films become so polarizing, I thought it's best not to confuse the audience. Let's leave it to the
figures.
Yeah, let's post figures which are objective.
I don't know, it's a difficult question to answer as an actor, but I feel on any of the OTT platforms nowadays, you have that top 10 movies and series.
Yeah.
I think as an actor, we all want to see our films staying in that top 10 bracket as long as possible. Like Kala was at 1, then it went to 3, then it went to 6, then it again came back to 2. So I saw my friends were also updating me about, that number that has gone down and again it has come up. So I feel, it's one of those things like we were in school. The houses used to get numbered according to sports day, as in charity wins or faith goes down or blue and yellow. So I feel with the OTT, as far as actors are concerned, it's become like that. Where you are at the end of the sports day. And how long can you stay, on that number? Yeah, so we just feel sad if we see that it's gone fast.
To this, I only want to say that nobody makes films because with an objective view. It's very subjective, it's very personal. You want to make a story because you want to make it. And today, it's like, I want to have Baigan ka bharta. It's not an objective view. I want to have it. So I want to make this film, and I make it, and I hope that it does very well. Is it the most successful formula that I can make a film for? No, those are not the reasons that most people make films for. For the audience also, it is the same thing, I feel. Subjectively, they might like some movie which is not objectively the most successful film, And I think that objectivity of the audience has to be maintained, and everybody should have their own opinion. The world might say that Arsalan is a better biryani, but if I want to eat Aminia, I go there. So it's something like that. And I feel that every categorization, every norm has a certain procedure, but the audience always finds a way of breaking out and seeking what it likes individually and subjectively. And I feel that that is very essential for the success of any art, because art does not originate from the concept of commerce. It's not the same thing, you know. There's a certain desire which promotes the creation of an art and which promotes the audience's decision to go and partake of it.
You know, this year, I think this was the first, this has been the first this year where a film called Sirf Ek Banda Kafi Hai, just in short known as Banda, which was a brilliant Manoj Bajpayee film, actually released on streaming first on Z5. And it did so well and had so many takers that the producers actually went and released it for a limited time in theaters and in quite a few theaters. This has not happened in India before. How do you kind of look at this, this trend? Do you kind of, it's not a trend of course because it's just been a one-off, but do you think that it has the potential to be a trend, and how do you kind of look at it in terms of changing the game?
More power to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's an awesome thing that happened, and I hope that many, many more things happen like this, that if it is successful in one medium, comes to the other, and vice versa.
And the actual trend is a film not doing well in the box office because it was made for a niche audience, but it was released nevertheless on, you know, as per the recent requirement of, you know, streaming platforms to have a nominal release and then have a proper release and then doing very well. So for example, my films Sher Dil and Shabash Me Too. So for example, my films Sher Dil and Shabash Me Too, both of them were, you know, the number thing which Swastika was saying, were in the 1 to 5 position for almost a month. And, but they didn't do well at the box office. So I think it's a very common trend, and that at its extreme position will result in Sirf Banda kind of a scenario where the producers will be, you know, for them, the response is a, you know, kind of a green signal to actually go for a more traditional distribution process.
Right. I have time for one last question, and then we'll kind of throw it open to the audience for a couple of questions. Is that, you know, the streaming platforms like Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon are actually putting their might behind a lot of films. Like, you know, Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon is a recent example where they release these films for a limited period in select theaters, and then they start playing in, you know, on the respective streaming platforms. Roma, Alfonso Cuarón's Roma, which won a lot of Oscars in its year, is also an example. How do you kind of look at this trend of streaming platforms having so much control and then kind of course, releasing for a very limited period in theaters? Do you think it kind of, you know, of course, shouldn't films actually first release in theaters, especially the ones that come from auteurs like this?
I think it totally depends on the kind of film. It can't be a general thumb rule. You know, certain films I think should directly release on OTT. Otherwise, it becomes a very risky proposition for the producer to release a very niche film or a very specialized kind of a film, which the expected audience base would be very low, because any distribution or release has its own costs, overhead costs. So for me, I think it totally depends on the film, whether it should have a direct to OTT release or a traditional release or a small nominal release before an OTT one.
Imtiaz, you have anything to add?
I think there should be no rule at all. Everything should be made and designed according to the film. And I feel, I look at every procedure with a bit of suspicion, honestly. I feel that if there's a procedure that's coming through, I'm waiting for it to get broken down and fail so that there's more liberty for filmmakers to do their thing. And, you know, all good things have been said about OTT platforms, but we should also make sure. See, the US is a very matured market for OTT. India is not. We've done pretty well in trying to, you know, we release films in the theaters and then we sell it for the digital airing as well. So in that way, It's been good for Indian filmmakers up till now. But you see, for instance, the dangerous trend is that there is the best films of the West are not on any OTT platform. That's because when an OTT platform invites films to be on them, they want their kidney, liver, blood,
Yeah.
bones
Correct.
also, right?
Yeah.
So the best filmmakers or the best studios say, I'm not going to give it to you. So there's only a certain type of films that you will, or rather a certain type of film mostly is missing on a digital platform, a Western film. Indian films are still available, most of them, see? So this is because they have that kind of might that they can stand out almost everybody. And the filmmaker becomes, however big he is, however big a studio is, becomes a small person in front of that a huge OTT platform. And if 4 of them start talking together and say, let's monopolize this shit, so we've had it. So we should also not encourage too much power to go into the people that plan things and then who finance things.
And then you have an opinion on everything, the flower vase, the costume of the
Lipstick.
person standing behind, how the window, what angle the window should be open, then it becomes a problem.
Right. Okay, quick one, Swastika and Srijit, I should have asked this earlier, but why do you think that Bengali cinema, Bangla cinema doesn't have so many direct-to-digital releases? In fact, I don't think there have been any. There might have been 1 or 2 maybe during the pandemic or a little later, but we don't hear of any, like going directly to Hoi Choi or something like that. Have we?
I want to answer your previous question also. That
Yes,
as
please.
actors, I don't think we care. कहीं पे भी release कर लो. मुझे काम करना है बस, I want to be a part of good films and want to work. Release wherever या terrace पे दिखा दो. I don't really care. But see, lately, when I've been speaking with directors and producers, the last 1 year or more than 1 year, I feel every time they say this, that they have spoken to the OTT platforms, whichever it is, but it's always like you have to have a release in the theater, even if it is for a limited, time or less number of halls, but you have to have a release, theater release, and then only in 2 months or 3 months, the film will go to the OTT. So I think that is a deal that's happening constantly, and I do feel that, directors also want to make films that they surely know will not work, with a larger scale of audience. And as Srijit said, that there's so much of money going in for the publicity, promotion, hall, distribution. And then if you are just spending that much of money and you're not getting anything out of it, and you're waiting till it goes on, the OTT platform, I don't know the science behind it, but it just feels
Numbers.
odd.
Essentially, again, I come back to my favorite space, numbers, because so in scenario A, where you're having a direct to OTT release, and scenario B, where you have a traditional release and then it goes to OTT, the amount of money it gets from OTT, be it a Hoichoi or a Z5 or Hotstar or Woot or Colors or whatever, these numbers don't add up. So it's a if-then scenario cost-benefit comparison. In the first scenario, the amount, let's say, let's say you get a 1 CR, let's say Hoichoi offers a film 1 CR for a direct to Hoichoi release. In the second scenario, it will offer, let's say, 40 lakhs. Now the difference between the two are 60 lakhs. Now that number doesn't add up to the amount of money that you will be forsaking when you do a traditional release.
Right.
So the moment in terms of the streaming revenue, it matches up to the national platforms, the regional platform matches up to the national platform. The moment those numbers start adding up, this will also come into trend.
Right. Okay. I'll now open this up for questions. I'm sorry, but we have time for only 2 because we're running late for the next session. Anybody has a question, please put up your hand. The request is to please stick to the topic. Please address whoever you want to ask the question, and please keep it short and crisp.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so while I am a fan of all three of your work, this is a personal thanks to Mr. Imtiaz Ali, my late father, a completely serious career scientist, chose to see Jab We Met more than 50 times during his final journey. Sir, you have given him immense happiness and escape from his pain. Thank you from my family.
So this is Prashanto.
Yes.
So I have
Who's
a question.
asking? Yes, that gentleman, please.
So talking about the living stream, streaming platform and OTT. So, from the discussion, we got to know that we get plethora of contents in streaming platform and OTT. And if we see, I'm not going into the statistics, Sajid, you blame me for that. But if you see, we get to see a lot of content based on violence, filled with abusive and offensive languages, right, in Indian content. So I also got to know from the discussion that the director live on the duality of maybe getting money back for the producer, at the same time doing justice for their film, the story they want to tell to the audience. Do you feel that the first point, that I have to get money back from the producer, drives that I need to put out a lot of abusive or offensive oriented content in the OTT platform? And at the same time, do you feel that you need to carry, or as a movie maker, you need to carry the social responsibility, because you need to build the social, people who are watching it, right? So a lot of OTT platforms, you go on there and get on there, you see that, they're filled with a lot of abusive and violent content. So do you carve any regulation, or need to put out something that Sensei has to do? What do you think about it?
Okay, since the question pertains to abusive language, I think I should take the question. So, first of all, the question of getting...
I was just going to say that he is...
Yeah, let's keep Imtiaz out of this.
He just preempted that.
Imtiaz helps all of us fall in love. For abusive language, there's always me. So
we are the sinners.
Yeah. So first of all, getting the money back on OTT platform doesn't work in the box office sense. So it cannot possibly work as a motive to put in abusive language as per garnishing or additional ingredients to make content work. And secondly, I think most people will agree, at least I can speak for myself and a few of my comrades and colleagues, that we do not put in abuses. Abuses flow naturally with the character or the situation or the milieu in which stories are set. And in OTT, you have a plethora of that because there is no censor board. In films pass through a censor board, and most of the abuses are toned down or beeped out. Or in some cases like Baisha Shravan, they're just given an adult tag and said that please don't beep any of the abuses, because then the flavor of a certain Prabhi Rai Chaudhary will go. So these are natural things as per the narrative, as per the scenario, as per the character, as per the milieu. In case of OTT platforms, you have more of it because there is no censor board to kind of censor it. So I think it's an absolute institutional side effect, nothing more than that.
But also if you're playing characters who are from, like my recent film, Shivpur, where you're showing goons who have just come from a very low strata of the society. In reality also, that's the language they speak in. So if you're projecting that character on screen, how do you make them speak, chaste Bengali or, very...
Exactly. So the question of social responsibility doesn't really come. The only responsibility that we have is towards the art and to stay true to the characters. So we have to stay true to the milieu or the character which is being portrayed.
Okay, one last question from this gentleman here.
The mic.
You have to switch on your mic.
Good evening, sir. Sir, my question is to directors over there. What is how hard it is to digest the differences of the scene, what you have perceived in your mind and what has been acted upon in the screen, sir?
I don't think that there's any scene that I have conceived in a certain way that has come across in the same way in the film. Every scene has gone through a transformation. In many cases, this has been a positive transformation, and in many cases, it has also been negative. Is this the question you were asking me? And because what happens is imagination might be immaculate, but imagination is also impractical. You know, in the imaginative figure that I'm seeing of a certain character, there is no flesh and bones. When an actor actually comes and stands in a certain point, at a certain point in front of the camera and says certain lines, then your imagination is tested by the reality of that person. And then as a director, you understand, you listen to what this body of experience, what this psychographic is saying, what this person is saying, and how to then bring your point across. So in this, your imagination has always altered. And I think apart from this very basic thing, I admire those directors that keep the window open, that improvise, and they change positively in most cases the script before it comes onto the film.
Everything that Imtiaz said.
Right, thank you so much. That's all the time we have. And thank you to all three of you. I hope, everyone kind of, it was an enriching discussion for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. May I request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, Chief Executive Officer of AVP Private Limited, to kindly come forward and present mementos to our speakers. Yes, so sorry. Can we have those microphones on, please, for our speakers?
Hello, yeah.
Yes, it's switched.
Just want to say something that this number that goes on decreasing and increasing thing is very distracting. And I was feeling like I'm in school and I have to give a extempo and there is a clock, running there constantly. So I usually have the tendency to give very long answers. But today I have just kept it like 2-mark questions because I was just constantly seeing this one. Yeah, so it's a scary bit that's going on here.
Thank you very much, ma'am. May I request Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee to felicitate Swastika Mukherjee. Thank you very much. May I request Dhruva Mukherjee to kindly felicitate Mr. Imtiaz Ali. And Mr. Srijit Mukherjee. Thank you very much for this fantastic session on entertainment, and we'd like to thank our moderator. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Once again, a huge round of applause for our speakers and our moderator. Thank you very much. Imtiaz Ali, Swastika Mukherjee and Srijit Mukherjee, thank you very much for this very interesting session. Ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to our next keynote session. And this is about the leader in you. I'm sure all of us know that we are all leading in something or the other, and that is why we say that we are the best. I will request you to kindly remain seated because after this, we have another very interesting panel, which is on the fitness panel. And we have our keynote speaker, Mr. Sanjay Hiranandani. He's the MD of Dot One. and he's going to be doing this extremely interesting keynote session, The Leader in You, and I'm sure all of you would be very interested to know how you can actually bring out the leader in you. All of you are leaders anyway, and how you can enhance that leadership even better. Please come fast. Come and do it fast. I can see a lot of our beautiful ladies here taking pictures. Ma'am, please don't forget to tag us. Please tag us. Yes, please do take more pictures. Take more pictures. We have also, we've made all the arrangements for you to take pictures. Take as many pictures as possible. Take selfies, take groupies, take all your beautiful pictures and tag us, because we love to see your pictures, because you are at INFOCOM 2023 in Kolkata. This is just getting bigger and better. So you can imagine how big this is going to get by next year. And of course, don't forget to do a hashtag Ask Sri Sri for tomorrow. Maybe some of your questions will get selected to be asked during that entire session with Sri Sri. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for this wonderful keynote session, Leader in You, something that is very close to my heart, because I give a lot of training to young people on leadership, because I'm a leadership trainer and happiness coach, and this is going to be of a very interesting session for me. And I have with us Mr. Sanjay Hiranandani. Please welcome him on stage. He's the MD of Dot. Round of applause. Stage, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And yet again, you know, before I start the session, I'd like to laud the organizers of INFOCOM. I think it's the 22nd year or 23rd year of INFOCOM, so 22nd year of INFOCOM, so over 2 decades, bringing us under one roof year after year. It's been absolutely fascinating. And for those who've been attending the sessions today, the varied topics of sessions that are there. I was in the other room listening to some young entrepreneurs who were making a pitch to a panel on some of their startup organizations. From there came into this room, hearing about the galaxy and whether there is a possibility of life on Mars or Saturn. Then listening to some stars and directors over here talking about films. And the spotlight session yesterday, which took my breath away, and I'm sure it took the breath away of many people over here who were able to attend that session with Brian Lara. I think that was a fascinating session. You know, the overall theme for INFOCOM this year is about leading with purpose. Now, even before you get down to leading with purpose, you've got to first figure out what is it that allows you to invoke those leadership qualities into you. Is there any formula that says that if I do A, B, C, I become a leader? So what are those things that will invoke the leadership qualities into you? I go back to the session with Brian Lara, and I think one of the very interesting questions that was asked to Brian Lara was that while you've been an absolutely fascinating player with a lot of flair and flamboyance, and you hold so many of these batting records, 375, 400, 500, some brilliant knocks on some fiery wickets in Australia, how was your stint as the captain of the West Indies team? And he tried to draw a correlation that's saying that just because you're very good at a particular skill, you need not actually be the best captain. And he also drew a parallel with our very own Sachin Tendulkar over here, who also had a couple of stints as captain, but it was not so remarkable. So I thought that question to Brian Lara was an extremely important question, given the overall theme of INFOCOM this year, which is leading with purpose. However, I do believe that as you keep evolving as a person in your profession, in your skill, or in your business, or in your entrepreneurship, there are leadership attributes that come into you. I personally have been a person who's been extremely fascinated by what sportsmen do in the arena of their sport or in the arena of their field. And that's simply because I believe that there are only two things in life that are unscripted. One is life itself, and second is sport. One really doesn't know what's going to happen next in life, and one doesn't really know what's going to happen in the 20th over of a T20 game or in the 90th minute of a football game. These panelists who were here earlier from the film industry talked about the fact that there is no subjectivity or it is all objective. So I want to start my presentation by telling you that there are 5 sportsmen who have played an extremely important part in my life, in me trying to understand how I could invoke leadership, let's say, into myself or into teams that are evolving in the companies that I have worked in. We all know this gentleman. His photograph has been seen. A lot of people have seen him play live. Sachin Tendulkar. Apart from being one of the most rewarded batsmen in the world, some people refer to him as the Donald Bradman of today. I refer to Donald Bradman as Sachin of the yesteryears. We all know about his back foot cover drive. We know about the fact that he's got 100 hundreds. We know everything about what he's done on the field of play. But one attribute that we perhaps miss out of Sachin Tendulkar is his discipline. The discipline that he had during the preparation of a series or during the preparation of a game was quite fascinating, which actually then allowed him to have a career across the 3 different formats of the game for 23 long years. This would not happen without the discipline that he brought to the field. So make a note of that. One of the first attributes that one needs to have is that of discipline. And discipline is not about the mundane stuff of you coming into work on time or doing your work the way you're expected to do. Discipline is something that has to be continuous. The next person who caught my imagination is this gentleman called Usain Bolt from the track and field. I don't know how many of you know. I know that Kolkata is a great sporting city, so most of y'all would know all these sportsmen. Usain Bolt is a person who brought real raw speed into the track and field. You all would know that he's a 100 meters and a 200 meters runner. Of course, now he's called it a day. But when it was even difficult to break the 10-second barrier in the 100-meter sprint, he broke it from 10 seconds to 9.8 to 9.7 and even did a 9.58. Now, that's the second attribute that you can invoke into people to ensure that he is getting into that position of being leadership. One is discipline, and if you do things in a disciplined way, you're going to automatically get speed in the way you're able to react to situations. So make a note of that, speed. Third person is this swimmer from America called Michael Phelps. It was in the 2008 Beijing Games where he announced to the world even before the game started that he is going for 8 gold medals. Every event that he participated in, he said, I will go and get gold. And he actually went and got gold in 8 events that he participated. It's one thing to do it or say it after you have done it. And it's the other to actually predict or to commit that you're so specialized in your arena that you can commit that I'm going for 8 and 8 is what you get. One of the qualities of a leader is how is he able to face a situation when it becomes daunting. The moment you have announced to the world that you're going for gold and you're going for 8, you make it daunting on yourself. And if you make it daunting on yourself and you are a true professional, a true leader, you will ensure that you go after it. He went after 8 and he got 8, and hence he comes in with the terminology called go for gold. So discipline, speed. Once you've got discipline and speed, you can start giving yourself small goals. You can start giving yourself small goals, saying, I want to achieve these goals, and you can have that in your mind as you trying to go for gold in trying to achieve these goals? Next person, you'll recognize this face also, Roger Federer. One of the greatest persons to have ever lifted a tennis racket, over 20 Grand Slam titles, 8 Wimbledons, what have you. There are people who have surpassed the number of Grand Slam titles he's got, but I do not think anybody had the poise and finesse like he did. Not many people will know this, but there was a stage in his career when he stopped winning tournaments and was losing to the Nadals and the Djokovic's and some of the younger people who were there. And what he realized was that while his skills were perhaps better than them, he was losing out on athleticism. He was not able to compete with them on athleticism, and they were winning out on speed. So what he actually did was, he went back to the drawing board and increased the head size of his racket by 1 centimeter. So what he was losing on speed, he was making up on reach. He was making up on reach by increasing the head size of his racket by 1 centimeter. No mean achievement for somebody who's been playing the sport with a head size which is 1 centimeter smaller for so many years, suddenly to increase it by 1 centimeter and go back. The proof of the pudding was 3 more titles back to back, 2 Australians and 1 Wimbledon. Innovation, discipline, speed, go for gold. Once you've gone for gold and you've given yourself small little goals to go for, you can then start innovating. This is a group of esteemed CIOs that are sitting over here, and innovation is on top of their mind always. Here comes a person who in the arena of sport brought in innovation. I don't know how many of you will recognize this gentleman, but apart from being a pole vaulter who broke his own world record 9 times, he has also given the corporate world a great phrase that we often use when we are sitting with our teams. And that is what? Raise the bar. He has given us this term of raising the bar again and again. So, discipline, speed, give yourself short goals, go for gold, innovate, and raise the bar. Once you have raised the bar, you start the cycle all over again at a raised bar level. This is how one should look at yourself, and this is how you should look at your teams, where you're trying to induct people within a team into positions where there will be man managers and they will be leaders of people. So these are these 5 sporting legends who, apart from what they've done in the sporting arena, left me with some of their attributes that I thought I'll try and present over here. Again, coming to sport, I think it's extremely important that, Right. You know, there's a sport, I don't know how many of you are interested in that sport. It's not the greatest of sport as a viewer to watch. It's called the Formula 1 racing, where actually it's a sport of man and machine. One man, 20 of them, getting into 20 different machines called a racing car, and for 2 hours, going at a breakneck speed around a circuit, 60 times, 70 times, for 2 hours. So it's a very individual sport. It's a very, very individual sport. There's a leader in the car, he's sitting in the car, and he's got his machine, and whoever goes faster and completes those 60 to 70 laps is the one who's going to win the race. However, the leader in him understands that there will be a few seconds within that race where he'll have to completely give up to his team. That is during the pit stop. Let's look at what happens during a pit stop. This is typically, it's not coming here. There's a Formula One car coming in. There are some 15, 20 people around the car who are doing what they have to do in the next 3, 4, 5 seconds. Change the tires, change the front, fill the gas. Of course, you don't fill gas anymore. And the leader can't do anything about it. He's completely dependent on those people around the car to help him to get back on the track, and start his race again. That's how a good pit stop takes place. Now let's look at what happens when a bad pit stop happens. Yeah. Pause. This is the race that happened in Singapore in 2007 when Formula One was introduced for the first time on the streets of Singapore under lights. Felipe Massa was behind the wheels in a Ferrari, leading the race, and he came into his pit at position number 1. And this is what happened. He gets into the pit. Again, 15, 20 people doing whatever they have to try and get him back into leadership position. That is number 1 position. Something goes wrong. Pause karo. And the hose pipe of the person who was filling the gas stayed in the car. So from a leadership position, his race was over. He was coming 1, and he ended up as not finishing the race. As a leader, you've got to recognize you are as good as your team. And there is teams that you will always rely upon. Point number 2 that I wanted to make. Point number 3, come back to the slide deck.
My cricket career started when I was...
Please pause it.
11.
Come back to the slide deck. Right. The slide deck's not working. Point number 3 is humility. I think, humility is becoming a dying art. It's becoming a dying art. Unless and until one recognizes that somebody else has had a major role to play in your career or to play in the upswing of your life, you will not be humble. So you've got to recognize that there are others who've played a role in your success. And the video I was going to try and show there was a video of the great Sachin Tendulkar speaking in 2011 when he had given up the game. His last game was at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. And after the game got over, he gave a speech for about 22 minutes, which had tears in the eyes of so many of cricketing fans and Sachin Tendulkar fans. And what he spoke about was his father, his coach, his teammates, every single person who had a role to play in his fantastic career. I'll leave you with that in terms of thoughts. I do believe that there is a leader in everybody, and I thought that perhaps, when you're sandwiched between a session where you've got people talking about films, where you've got a fitness session to come, and then a CIO awards evening followed by an entertainment evening, it's difficult to talk on leadership at 7 o'clock in the evening. So I thought, let me just try and give a different twist to it. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you so much. Yeah, right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hiranandani. I would like to request Mr. K.K. Mahapatra, Advisor INFOCOM, to kindly come forward and present a memento to Mr. Sanjay Hiranandani.
Dada, thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that very interesting keynote address. The leader in you. Thank you, and thank you for those applauses. We will now move on to a very interesting panel discussion. This is the fitness panel, the right fit. And we have a wonderful, beautiful moderator, of course. But before that, as you can see, our team is getting ready with this particular fitness panel. We are setting up and doing the needful. In the meanwhile, please don't forget to send us your photographs, hashtag them. Also tell your colleagues and friends about this wonderful 3-day event that you are attending and how much you have gained from this, the gems of information that you are taking home. Please do tell them about it. And also the beautiful memories that are going to pop up next year around the same time when you're going to be posting your pictures, your stories on social media. All my stories of my INFOCOM 2022 are popping up now, and I've got them all over because I put a date to it, like I was telling you a little while ago. I put a date to each of my stories. I've got a hashtag story of my life, and I put a date. So if you ever want to put a date and then go back to search what exactly you were doing on a particular date, it's Facebook or whichever media you're working in, social media, it pops up that memory, and you can actually find out over the last couple of years what you were doing on a particular date. So this, at the end of the day, though we have another session coming up, the awards, but at the end of the day, we are talking about fitness. How many of you here love sweets? Oh, of course. When I come to Kolkata and I say, how many of you love sweets? You're going to say that, come on, you shouldn't be asking me this question. This is a pertinent question that this is a Jansid Adhikar hai, that you should not be asking a Bengali or anyone else about whether I like sweets or not. I always do this whenever I go for my BNI meeting. I usually stand next to the sweets counter, and I'm standing there and I'm telling all the ladies there, please, just don't have it. Please, don't have this rasgulla. Please don't have the gulab jamun. And they would say, how dare you actually... That's okay. They are handling that. It's fine. They're very good at handling a lot of stuff. So they would always tell me that you dare not tell us not to have that gulab jamun. So to defy my advice, they would not take one gulab jamun, but they would take 2. So you know what happens when you have a lot of sweets? It slows you down and it makes you very lethargic. So if after lunch you're going to have sweets, and look who's talking, because here is a person who loves sweets a lot, and I just cannot resist the sweets that are being served after lunch in this hotel, because they've got the best sweets ever, and they have some fantastic desserts, and I cannot say no to that. But we will, as usual, with a very sweet mind that I have, I'm going to start with the fitness panel. And all of you, please refrain from having too much of sweets. Well, we go on to the fitness panel, the right fit. I would like to request the panelists to come onto the dais and take their seats. Dr. Nandita Shah, who's the founder of Sharan India. May I request you, ma'am, to kindly come onto the dais and take your seat. Here she is. I had the privilege of having lunch with her, and she gave me some wonderful advice. A warm welcome to you, ma'am, and a good evening. Mr. Karan Kakkar, Nutrigenomics and TEDx speaker. May I request you to kindly come onto the dais and take your seat, sir? Yes. Though it's the evening, but we need those applauses coming. Louder, please. Thank you. Mr. Ranadeep Moitra, ex-cricketer and strength and conditioning specialist. May I request you to kindly come onto the dais and take your seat, and a round of applause for Mr. Moitra. Good evening. And Mr. Yash Dashgupta, he's a film actor. And a friend of mine said that he's absolutely super handsome. So please welcome on stage Mr. Yash Dashgupta. Good evening. And the moderator for this session is none other than the Fiesti film actress and Member of Parliament, Nusrat Jahan Ruhi. Please welcome on stage the gorgeous Nusrat Jahan Ruhi. Warm welcome to you, good evening, and I hand over the session to you, ma'am.
I welcome you all on behalf of the entire team of INFOCOM. What a lovely evening it is today. I'm so glad to be sharing the stage with such amazing personalities. We would not waste time because we have very less time in hand. The timer is right on in front of me. We are supposed to talk about fitness. And there are a lot of myths about fitness. We feel that fitness means we got to lose weight and we have to do a lot to be fit. So I have these amazing 4 speakers of mine who will give us all the necessary gyans that we need and will enlighten us and show us the right way to stay fit in today's times. So, right on my left, I'll start with Nandita ma'am. I have been a huge fan of yours and she's an amazing speaker. So ma'am, I would like to know from you that from practicing homeopath, she's a doctor, practicing homeopath to Sharan. How did it all happen? How was this journey? How were you motivated to actually go about and open this amazing institute?
So, Sharan actually stands for Sanctuary for Health and Reconnection to Animals and Nature. So why reconnection to animals and nature? Because I understood that animals in nature know how to be well and we don't. How can that be? And I also understood that in general, medicines never cure. For example, if someone has diabetes or hypertension, we are taking medicines our entire life and over a period of time, they spiral upwards. And the main reason that medicines never cure is because when we have a disease and we take medicines, we don't remove the cause of the disease. So when I realized all this, that animals know how to be well, we don't, and if we want to be well, we need to remove the cause of the disease, and then disease is gone. I had to change. I had no choice. And that's how Sharan began. Sharan started 15 years ago.
So that is beautiful. There's this amazing book of yours which says that via your knowledge, you've actually mentioned in the book that diabetes can be treated in 21 days. That is commendable. What do you have to say about that? We'd like to hear it.
So the name of the book is Reversing Diabetes in 21 Days. And that was actually a title given by the publisher, Penguin, because they thought that that would be a good title, but it came from a 21-day health retreat that we conduct regularly, where we take all the reports of the patients right in the beginning and the reports at the end, and during the 21 days, as they get better, we cut down the medications. To me, reversing diabetes means no more high blood sugars, and no medicines and normal reports.
Super, ma'am. We're so happy to hear that your practice has helped hundreds of people. Now, I would really like to thank you, Ronodeep, for being here today. I know Ronodeep as he's been a part of the Tollywood industry also and trained so many of us. He's a fitness enthusiast. So what we want to know is regularly when your clients come to you, they come up with these weird questions, myths that you have to face, and how do you bust them? And what is the most weirdest myth about fitness that you've come across?
I'm fortunate that most of the time when people come to me, they've done a bit of background reading, so they're careful that they don't ask me the wrong question. However, when people do come and said, I want to train for this, and I want to train for the marathon, I want to train to lose weight, I want to pack up. And I tell them, the biggest reason for training is, I don't know. I don't know because I don't know what my tomorrow is going to be like. So I always say you train to prepare yourself for life's unforeseen contingencies.
Agreed, agreed.
Right? So, and anybody asks me, what's the reason you train? I train because I don't know what tomorrow is going to be like. But I know certain things. I know there's going to be disease. I know at the age of 75, I'm going to slip and fall in the bathroom. And it's not an accident because you haven't prepared for it.
But don't you come up with questions like,
do?
I used to go and ask my trainer weird possible questions like, can I have another shooting in the next 10 days? Can I lose weight in 10 days and look as hot as blah, 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 this and that? Was there a possibility? Have you come across such stupid questions?
I do. I just say, shut up and train. I just tell them, shut up and train. No, seriously. I do. I try as far as possible to explain to you why a certain kind of obsession to lose weight or get ready in 10 days' time could be bad for your body.
Right.
Yeah, and most of the time people understand that, but you can get the best of both worlds. There is a sweet spot that you can achieve for your, between your immediate needs and your long-term needs. But like everything in life, as like investing, for example, people don't like to look at long-term goals because they want immediate gratification. But that's not the way life works.
No magic happens over a fortnight. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Now, coming to Karan. Karan has a very different way and different thought process when it comes to fitness. He believes in holistic health. So he talks about nutrigenomics. So many of us probably are not enlightened about this term, Karan. What exactly is nutrigenomics and how does it help or optimize the healthy outcomes of individuals today?
Good evening. I think one of the most important thing for all of us sitting here is that when we are in our 60s and 70s and 80s, we should be fit, fine and healthy and happy. Yes or no?
Yes.
And if we want to be fit, fine and healthy in our 50s and 60s and 70s, there is only one thing which is going to help us, which is our habits and our lifestyle. You understand? So there are 4 things which I want all of you to take care of. Number 1 is food and nutrition, which is very important. Number 2 is physically being active. Number 3 is sleep. Sleep is very important for good health. And number 4 is our thoughts and emotions.
Karan, that's exactly what I want to know from you. You're saying thoughts and emotions also help in the well-being. You're saying let's manifest good health and fitness. What is that concept? Could you just throw some light on that for our audience?
Sure. As human beings, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. Each thought has an emotion that runs in your body, and each and every cell is listening to your emotions. So now you just have 2 options. Either you live in higher thought, higher emotions like love, joy, happiness, gratitude, or live in lower thought, lower emotions like guilt, regret, unworthiness, fear, and all of that. If you're living in lower thought, lower emotions, you are inviting more disease and less health. If you're living in higher thought, higher emotions, you're inviting more health and less disease.
As we always say, think positive, stay positive. It always reflects in the way you look and the way you are as a person. Thank you so much, Karan. Yash, everybody knows in this industry that you are a fitness enthusiast. Whenever we talk about gymming or staying healthy, the first name that comes in everybody's mind in our industry, they talk about you. We would like to know simple questions from you first, then we come to the complicated ones. Simple ones would be that how does one stay motivated? So today, for instance, today I will start working out from tomorrow, or I will follow this diet from tomorrow. There are so many fad diets that are online today. Ye follow karte hai, to we'll lose weight, we'll become thin, we'll be able to look this and that. But today I start today, but tomorrow eventually what happens is, I do not go to the gym. I feel lazy. I feel it's too much for me to do this regular fitness thing, pushing myself, going to the gym. So how much motivation do you require? How are you so motivated that I know personally, for that matter, that you always go, the world shatters down, the world crumbles, you will always go to the gym because you feel that going to the gym is a part of your regular lifestyle that you do. How do you stay motivated? And for people like us, and a lot of people here in the audience possibly, who say कि कल से करेंगे, कल से gym करते हैं, कल से diet करते हैं, कल से fitness के लिए सोचेंगे. So what do you have to tell them?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone for having me here. I would like to start from where I started. As in my school days, I was a very skinny guy. I'm sure you guys must be having a lot of children around. We do, two of them. So during my school days, I was a very skinny guy who used to get bullied by his seniors and his classmates because I was physically very weak. My father had a transferable job, so every 3 years or so, he used to get transferred. So every 3 years, I had to change my school, and entering into a new school with new people around, getting bullied again and again. And that's a real issue today that no one talks about, students or kids getting bullied. So I had, I had nothing to fight them with because I was physically very lacking. So I was like, okay, let's start getting into fitness, so getting into taekwondo or doing basic push-ups. So I saw, slowly or steadily, I started gaining a little bit of strength that I lacked before. And that is how it started. And during school days, it was easier for me also to impress other girls around. Having a good body always helped. But over the period of time, I realized that fitness is much more than that. It is much more than what people see or a fit body, and it is much more than having washboard abs. It is about the longevity of your life. In today's date, we people have stopped moving. I mean, everything has become so comfortable for us. In today's date, we don't need to even get up and change the channel for the TV. We can just sit down like this and we can operate the remote and get the channel changed. So during the 80s or the 90s, I'm 80s born, so I can talk about my time. We people used to go out, we used to play with our friends because we never had smartphones back then. Like today, I see my sons using the smartphones. We try to restrict that at our place because we have a different thought about that. So that time was better. In today's date, we have stopped moving, and that is the major issue.
So Yash, are you saying, I just want to make it more crisp, are you saying that fitness is not always going to the gym and taking up heavy weights and doing too much just to follow the trend, or following some fad diet, saying just because it's a part of trend, oh my God, we're getting so fit day by day. You're saying it's a lifestyle. You're saying this?
What I'm saying is when I have seen my father and my grandfather, during our grandfather's time, they used to cycle for 20 kilometers to go to their office. None of the people had any cars. Maybe I wouldn't call them poor, but they didn't have the luxury to own a car that time. And cycling really helped. That was their workout. Maybe they were unintentionally doing it. But in today's date, everything has become so convenient that people have started becoming couch potatoes. And that's the real problem.
That's a very big problem. Yash, I know you don't really approve of people sitting in one place also for a long time. It's very annoying to see him moving on all the time. He's walking and talking. We will move on from that. And Nandita ma'am, there's something very important that I need to know and the audience also needs to know. We have all heard about the vegan diet and something that the generation and society today is thriving on. But a lot of people do not understand the difference between being a vegetarian and being a vegan. Like, sometimes I don't. I feel, it's all veg. It's all plant-based protein that we are having. We're having tofu. Tofu is also plant-based protein. That is one question. Along with that, also, this plant-based products that you're talking about, are they a pushback also to fulfill the nutrition needs of our body? And I would want to know how healthy is it for today's lifestyle. You promote vegan. A lot of other people, I don't know, in the audience, are you vegans here? Is there any vegan? I know that there might be a lot of vegetarians here. So, ma'am, what is the difference between being a vegan and being a vegetarian?
Okay, so, vegetarians and non-vegetarians get the same disease. And that's because, whether it's diabetes or hypertension or cancer or autoimmune disease. And that's because meat and milk have the same properties. So when a non-vegetarian goes out for dinner, they'll order chicken. And when a vegetarian goes out for dinner, they'll order paneer. paneer and chicken are the same in our body. Sorry, could you hear me all this time? Huh? Paneer and chicken are same in our body.
That is very interesting to hear. Did you just say paneer and chicken are same for the body?
Yeah, because they're high protein, high fat, and no fiber.
But aren't the protein, percentage more or less different in both the products?
Not really. Paneer is very concentrated form of, of protein and fat and no fiber. And chicken is the same, right? Maybe a little difference here and there, but in the end, it's the same. Now, basically we have to think, what did nature expect us to eat? Because animals in nature know how to be well. So, if we think about that, and if we were out in nature, what can we eat like animals do straight in nature? And that's fruits and vegetables. So more fruits, more vegetables, and actually vegan is no animal product.
But does that fulfill our physical well-being needs?
Absolutely. In fact, as I said, we are reversing diseases. So I would ask, if you eat largely an animal-centered diet, where will you get your vitamins and minerals? And minerals you can get. Where will you get your vitamins and other nutrients, right? These are found in plants, which is why we all need plants, even if we eat meat.
Right. So, Nandita ma'am, I would want to know from you that what are the usual pushbacks that you get while adopting a plant-based diet for someone? So,
right. So, I'm very lucky that I've been in this field for so long, so people who usually come to me already know what I'm doing. And, you know, I've been treating people with one foot in the grave. Right, that's when they're ready to come to me.
No, and I would also want to come and hear and learn more.
And people who have one foot in the grave where the doctors have said we cannot help you, they're willing to do everything. And then when they get well, you know, they see, and usually the family changes as well. So I connect it with logic, help them understand, but we also
you give them a scientific reason.
Yes. And then we also have a huge team where we have cooking classes and various events so they can learn, you know, because the main reason people don't want to change is because of deprivation, right? It's not, they're not worrying, oh, where will I get my nutrients from? They're worrying, how will I do without so-and-so, whatever they're eating. So if we can show them that our food can be more delicious,
but
or
isn't
at
it about
least
like if
as
somebody's
delicious.
been having something for like, you know, I would like to ask all three of you all on this. If I'm eating something since childhood, I've been used to eating something. Can I just suddenly turn into a vegan only because my health needs it? There has to be some other way out. If it's very difficult for one to adapt, then what? I mean, what kind of logic do you give? I'll ask Ronodeep the same thing. Like, you've been into fitness. Vegan, I don't know whether you approve of vegan diet or not, but what is the kind of diet you suggest your people when, when they come up to you with their physical needs?
I think it's horses for courses. There's no one kind of diet which is you can use
I'm saying the
across.
general ones. I'm not saying like everybody has different
But,
needs and you
yeah.
suggest them differently.
So generally, if the person eats everything, I'm not vegetarians. I mean, the problem with Indian vegetarians is that they don't eat non-vegetarian food and they don't eat vegetarian food. That's a problem.
I would like to hear that again, and I would like you to
what
make
do we
us
eat?
understand the whole
So
thing.
what do you ask a vegetarian person to eat? Because he doesn't eat vegetables. She sometimes eats, but he doesn't have. That's a big problem.
That's a
for us.
problem.
Yeah, so
So they're choosy about the vegetables also they want to eat.
Most vegetarian Indian people don't eat enough vegetables. Okay, keeping that aside, what I tell people, I'm not a food expert, but I tell them to have a balanced diet, which means enough protein, enough fat. So I am a big believer that you should be having a lot of fat. If you do not have enough fat, then you'll be having too many carbohydrates. So carbohydrates of all these three categories is the dodgy one, and so particularly starch. So I tell them to reduce starch as much as possible. But
we all love carbs.
Just have get enough protein, and largely in my experience, I feel most people I meet are a bit protein deprived. And I'm not saying it's only veg or non-veg source. And
No,
to my
I know
understanding,
vegetarians can also have the enough amount of protein
but you
that they
have
need.
to have that knowledge. You have to know it because one single source of vegetarian protein is not going to give you 21 amino acids that are essential.
Right.
So you have to have the right combination. I'm not an expert because I know rice and corn will do it, but spinach and something else. But I know if I just pick up a piece of meat and I get my 21 amino acids.
Right.
So it's not that, I think vegetarian eating is a very superior form of not only eating, but of living your life. No
Right.
arguments about that. But but you have to have the knowledge to get it right. I am not a vegetarian, but I have no doubts about believing that it's a superior form of life.
Right, right. On that note, Karan, you keep talking about superfoods. You always talk about how it helps, what one should eat, and what one diligently should avoid to stay healthy and stay fit. What do you suggest people for their regular healthy lifestyle?
The idea is very simple. We should be eating more natural, more seasonal, and more real foods. If you look at last 20 years, issues like diabetes, blood pressure, fatty liver, cholesterol, heart problem, all of that has increased. Yes or no? And in last 20 years, processed foods, packet foods, junk foods, all of that has also increased. You understand?
Right.
Because people are consuming less of real foods, less of fiber. As he was mentioning, vegetarian foods also don't eat vegetables. You
Right.
understand? Because, if I'm eating French fries, Coca-Cola and all of that, so it's more,
All tasty and healthy stuffs.
it's all about becoming aware, becoming conscious, choosing right options, and once a while here and there, no problem. But what we do day to day is very important.
So give me 3 superfoods that we should live by every day, and 3 foods, just to name 3 items that we should avoid.
See, 3 things that we should avoid is aerated drinks, like cold drinks and all, absolutely not a good idea. Number 2 would be, things like Maggi, YY, again, all junk foods and processed foods. And number 3 would be high salt, deep fried foods, we should avoid.
The audience का मुंह सूख गया ये सुन के कि ये 3 तो खाना ही नहीं है बिल्कुल.
But again, once a while, okay, but, try and minimize. It's
on
all
that
about
note.
what
And
we
what
do.
are the 3 things that you should eat? Like 3 good things that you should eat?
I know what he's going to say. He's going to say moringa.
Moringa.
He wants sorry, that's a burden to say that.
Blanched moringa?
Yeah, I went to him and he said, I don't care what you eat. I'm not changing too much, but make sure, you said about half of what you eat has to be alive. And that's why I say, मैं जिंदा रहना चाहता हूँ, इसलिए मैं जिंदा खाता हूँ.
जिंदा खाता हूँ.
So drumsticks, drumsticks, जो
Yes.
sambar में होता है, it is very, very good. We should have it, drumsticks. It is very, very nice.
एक और,
Yeah.
one more.
And number 2, try and at least have 2 to 3 fruits in a day, which is very important.
This is quite simple. I think this we can follow. ये drumstick, फल वगैरह we can eat. Yash, on that note, as difficult as it sounds कि ये खाना है और ये नहीं खाना है और ये करना है fit बनने के लिए, Yash, please make it little more easy because he always tells me कि ऐसा है कि कभी-कभी मीठा खा कर भी we can lose weight. कभी-कभी we should not we should not deprive ourselves of what we want to eat on days. You want to eat a muffin, eat. He gives me the liberty. Where you want to eat a pastry, eat. But उसके बाद क्या करना पड़ता है? So he has always told me कि follow a diet जो regularly कर पाए, जो lifestyle, जो life में रोज कर पाए. ऐसा नहीं है कि today 7 days I'm going to follow this, I lose weight, and then after that, oh my God, I can't eat this anymore. This is rubbish. I can't eat that. So Yash, give a kind of like a small cheat meal kind of a trip, or a cheat tip, a cheat tip, that what do you do to make this a regular khana wala thing that people can just follow easily and yet be fit at the same time?
See, you know it all because you know
But
it.
I'm not supposed to give-
But
I'm
then
not
at the
supposed
same
to
time,
talk
I would
much
say
today.
that I prefer having everything. लोग सोचते हैं that as actors we don't cheat. Oh, they are into strict diet and stuff like that. No, it's not like that. We have hog on biryani. Bengali,
Actually, they give me a very boring question. This is what is Yash's diet regime and what does he eat on his cheat days? I could not ask him that because I know my husband quite well. There are no cheat days, weekdays for him. If he wants to eat, he'll eat. If he doesn't want to eat, he'll eat balanced. So that wo balanced wala jo baat hai na, you have to actually enlighten the audience with that.
So
it's not that difficult.
what I do is I keep a calculation of 7 days. मैं हफ्ता भर पकड़ता हूँ कि ये हफ्ता मुझे अगर ये खाने का मन है, 2 दिन का कैलोरी अगर मैं कम कर दूँ, तो तीसरे दिन मैं अपना मनचाहा खाना खा सकता हूँ. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि मैं रोज ही बिरयानी खा रहा हूँ. That is not okay. और suppose weekending में going out for with your friends for a drink, I would say कि ये नहीं है कि don't have alcohol, don't have meat or don't have burger and stuff like that. Have everything but plan it well. You cannot have it every day and think कि वजन कम हो जाएगा. It's not like that. So we have sweets. Our brain needs sugar. People say that sugar is bad. Maybe, yeah, yes.
If you have it in lot of amount, like regularly, and make it a bad habit, then it's a bad habit.
Yes.
You eat
So
things,
anything
you
in
eat everything
excess,
moderately.
सुबह बर्गर खा लिया, dinner में पिज्जा खा लिया, that is wrong. But then अगर plan करके किया जा सके, you can have everything. You can have your weekending with your friends also. But रोज का नहीं. आज अगर मुझे खाना है तो मैं 2 दिन अपना कैलोरी कम रखूंगा, 2 दिन मैं सही खाऊंगा, तीसरे दिन जाके मैं गलत खाऊंगा.
Today, if I order biryani, if I go back home and if he complains, it's all there in the public domain. Nah? He said, "Jo khana hai
So
khao."
yeah. So here's the catch. I think Ronda will agree with me. Carbs, too much of carbs is bad. That is what we feel. But at the same time, अगर आप 2 दिन कम carbs खाते हैं, तीसरे दिन जाके we call this carb loading. तीसरे दिन जाके अगर आप ज़्यादा carbs भी लेते हैं, तो then that's not bad. So biryani for me is not a cheat. It is part of my diet.
I really like you for that. Reason why I got married to you, because biryani is a thing. We can always have biryani. But on that note, we are actually coming towards the end of the discussion, and it was so lovely getting to know such new ideas from all 4 of y'all. And for everybody in the audience, please eat balanced khana, ghar ka khana, simple khana. Whatever your better house feed you with love, but just keep your eyes and ears open. Ki thoda aur
I think I would like to
रह
add one more thing. फिटनेस इज जस्ट लाइक आजकल काफ़ी चलता है कि नया ट्रेंड क्या आया है, क्या वर्कआउट कर सकते हैं. सो इट इज़ जस्ट लाइक बीइंग विथ योर वाइफ. इट इज़ द यूजुअल बोरिंग स्टफ, लेकिन अगर दोनों साथ में काफ़ी साल रह सकते हैं, फिटनेस इज ऑल्सो लाइक दैट कि अगर रोज़ ही एक ही चीज़ ही करना है, बोरिंग है लेकिन साथ में करना है. रोज अगर सोचेंगे कि नहीं कुछ एक्साइटमेंट चाहिए लाइफ में, फिटनेस डजंट वर्क लाइक दैट. इट इज डूइंग द सेम थिंग अगेन एंड अगेन एंड अगेन.
Wow, I think that's advice that might just be very exciting for everybody else to hear. We're coming towards the end. We would like if the audience has any question to ask any of them, we'll take 2 questions because we're running short of time. कुछ पूछना है, किससे पूछना है, please? Can we have the mic?
You said we should eat 2 or 3 fruits.
Your question 2, sir? Karan? Okay.
Karan. You said 2-3 fruits. Sounds good. Before or after food? There's a lot of conversation about when you should eat the fruit. So is that the food?
Fruits, ideally empty stomach works best.
So a lot of people say you get a sugar spike. So you should actually eat.
Not a problem.
The
Eat
protein
fruits,
first.
empty stomachs, once in the morning, once around 5:30 works best.
Great. You have an answer? Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question with Randeep. During the recent heart attacks, and I am also running marathon, 21 kilometers, going to run in the Tata Mumbai Marathon next month. What you are going to suggest for the marathon runners? That lot of heart attacks are going to happen post-COVID. People are doing in gym and something like what mistake people are doing in a regular exercise that they can improve their marathon running and practice.
Are you saying जो physical pain होता है, the back pain or
I think
something?
he's talking about heart attacks, I think, right?
Yeah, I am talking for heart attacks compared with the marathon runners.
See, the problem that symptomatic medicine makes is that they start looking at the heart as a different organ. Our body is a system of systems, and no part of the body can be looked as in isolation. So the reason for a heart attack or poor cardiac condition is not only the heart. Seldom ever will you find somebody's liver working, kidney working, pancreas secreting enough insulin, and the heart is in bad shape. Heart is very much a part of the entire endocrine system. So if you, for example, I feel the biggest reason for heart ailments is some substance called cortisol, which is a stress hormone. Okay, and the stress hormone is produced from here at the adrenal cortex. So if you can't only look at the heart, and I'm going to do cardiovascular training to get a strong heart, that's an incorrect attitude. So you've got to get your breathing right, you've got to get the right amount of, your nervous system. We've got two parts of the nervous system, or autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system calms you down, and the sympathetic nervous system agitates you. Sorry, I need a little time to explain this because the heart cannot be seen in isolation. So when you get up in the morning, your sympathetic nervous system is on a high. So you're secreting stress hormone, you're secreting blood pressure, and that's the time you need to do certain things. At night, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over, and that's the time to calm you down. Yet, we have reversed this whole order, right? And all the hormones are all over the place, and the ill effect is faced by the heart, and you blame the heart. So it's not something that you can look at in isolation, that I do cardiovascular training and increase my cardiac output and my heart is going to get strong. Like you had marathoning, you've got to understand when the heart is under long-term moderate stress, it produces a lot of cortisol. If the rest of your life doesn't have so much stress, you're all right. But from there you go to work, and then more stress, you've got to be careful. So I'm sorry I can't answer this question like in isolation.
Why I have asked this question? Because I'm running this from last 5 years, okay? When we are running, we are going to stress something extra. Okay, what we are going to, our timelines, like 2.3 hours, 2 hours 30 minutes, or 2 hours 15 minutes. But sometime during these periods, family are going to pressurize that don't run 21 kilometers. Try to reduce because that the data COVID is going to come and the number of heart attacks are going to increase. We can protect and not run 21. Because I'm in between in the 50s, okay, and the pressure is going to come in the family.
Don't worry about it. The only athletes get if you've got hypertrophy of the myocardial walls. That's a myopathy. That's a completely different condition where super fit athletes get heart attack, and that is also genetically predisposed. But if you're not, you don't have to worry. And maybe you're fine. If you have great attitude outside your running, if you're not a very highly anxious person, don't live a stressful life, go to sleep early, get up fairly early, you're all right. Don't worry about it. Go enjoy your running.
Sir, आप stress free रहिए, दौड़िए. You can take your long walks. Nothing is going to wrong. Like also Karan said, think better. All better things will happen. And like Nanta ma'am said, stay connected with nature, stay rooted, eat the right things, and like Monadeep says, stay fit and do not worry much and believe in the whole scientific process. And we had Yash telling us that eat everything moderately, make fitness a lifestyle, and just do not run behind the trends. We have come towards the end of this amazing discussion. You guys have been very patient. You've been a lovely audience today. Give a round of applause for all 4 of them here for enlightening us with such amazing, amazing facts. And another big round of applause for all you guys हमें झेलने के लिए. Thank you ABP, thank you INFOCOM. It's been a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. May I request Mr. Suman Banerjee, Chief Human Resource Officer of AVP Private Limited, to kindly come forward and present mementos to our moderator and our panelists here today. Thank you very much. I would like to request Mr. Suman Banerjee to present a memento to Ms. Nusrat Jahan Ruhi. Thank you very much for moderating this wonderful session. Dr. Nandita Shah. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, we would like to felicitate Mr. Karan Kakkar. Dr. Nandita Shah. Thank you very much, Mr. Suman Banerjee. And please wait for a couple of minutes. Yes, let them take a picture first and then you could join them. Thank you for this wonderful session. The fitness panel, the right fit. Well, if we have to fit in right, we have to eat right. And I think our panelists have just shown us and told us how important it is to eat the right things, to stay connected with nature, with ourselves, and everything. And we request our panelists to kindly take their seats in the auditorium. We would be starting with our CIO Award evening in a very short while from now. We will take a couple of minutes to do the setup, and we request you, sir, ma'am, please take your seats.
You only just
Ladies and gentlemen, a symphony of innovation, a tapestry of resilience, and a celebration of purpose await you tonight. Welcome to an evening where we transcend the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. The INFOCOM Changemakers Award 2023 with the theme, Leading with Purpose. Tonight we gather not just as spectators, but as participants in a transformative journey. We are here to celebrate the architects of change, those who have not merely weathered storms, but have emerged as beacons of purpose-driven leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, join us as we applaud success stories that inspire, share experiences that resonate, and collectively shape a future fueled by visionary leadership. The INFOCOM Changemakers Award 2023 is more than an event. It's a testament to the incredible feats achieved when purpose meets passion. We are pleased to begin the Lifetime Achievement Award, a tribute to the industry luminaries whose lasting impact and visionary leadership have shaped the world of IT. Tonight, we honor the icons whose contributions resonate as a beacon of excellence. May I request Mr. Dhruba Mukherjee, CEO, ABP, to kindly come on stage to hand over the award. Sir. And here is Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee, CEO of AVP Private Limited, who is going to hand out the award. A round of applause for him. I take this opportunity to call out the names of the awardees. The first name, in no particular order, Mr. Gautam Datta, Chief Information and Digital Officer, Bajaj Allianz Life. May I request you to kindly come on stage, and a round of applause for Mr. Gautam Datta as he comes forward to receive his award. And keep those applauses coming. It keeps everyone very inspired and on top of spirits. Mr. Gautam Datta, Chief Information and Digital Officer, Bajaj Allianz Life. Heartiest congratulations. Mr. V. Ranganathan Iyer, Group CIO, Senior EVP, JBM Group. A huge round of applause as I welcome him on stage to receive the award from Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee. All right, we'll wait for him. Mr. Sanjoy Sen, Divisional CIO, ITC Limited. May I request you, sir, to kindly come onto the stage and take away the award. Now that he's on stage, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sanjoy Sen, a round of applause for him. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir. Mr. Shafqat Haider, Chairman Council for Communication and IT, SARC Chamber of Commerce and Industry. A huge round of applause for Mr. Shafqat Haider. Heartiest congratulations to you. Our next awardee is Mr. Vinod Bhatt, Chief Information Officer and Chief Ethics Counselor, Vistara Tata Sia Airlines Limited. Keep those applauses coming. Mr. Vinod Bhatt on stage. In this landscape of change, 150 plus trailblazers have stepped forward and applied for the award, each with a unique story of transformation and purpose. In the intricate tapestry of industries, so I think you have to stay. In the intricate tapestry of industries, our change makers have made their mark, from the dynamic world of aviation to the steadfast banking sector and the innovative realms of manufacturing and e-commerce. Each nomination reflects a chapter of transformation. The breadth of industry representation underscores the universal impact of change makers across diverse sectors. We would now like to express our deep gratitude to the members of the jury. May I request our awardees, the jury members to kindly come forward. I will mention the names. There will just be one jury member who will come up. Mr. Fawad Rashidi, CTO, Just Dental Solutions USA. Ms. Natalia D. Erico, Global Content Operations Leader, Paramount USA. Mr. Edwin Park, CTO, E-Developer Solutions Canada. And Mr. Gautam Datta, Chief Information and Digital Officer, Bajaj Allianz Life, India. May I request Mr. Gautam Datta, Chief Information and Digital Officer, Bajaj Allianz Life, India, to kindly come forward so that we can present a memento for his role as a member of the jury. And thank you, sir. We'd like to hear a few words from you, sir. And thank you, Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee.
Good evening to all of you. There have been, as you have seen, 150 plus applications. I think we, along with Natalia, Farad and Edwin, could select 21 of them. Primarily, there were 3 clear-cut criteria that we 4 put to use. One is clearly ingenuity, how pure the idea is, how pure the solution is. The second one is my favorite. Did the solution actually address business created value for it? Third is how far this has been actually put to work on ESG strategy. I guess all 21 must have passed in flying colors on all 3 of this. Here is the winners for all of you. Please clap for them and enjoy the time.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's acknowledge our invaluable sponsors, Dot One Solutions and NTT Data, whose unwavering support and commitment in innovation have fueled tonight's celebration. A heartfelt thank you for making the INFOCOM Changemakers Award 2023 possible. May I now call on stage Mr. Sagar Sen, Vice President and Head Business IT from NTT, to share a few words. Sir.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few words. Today, we would like to recognize the excellence in this community. We would like to thank the CIO community here and the INFOCOM. The association of INFOCOM with NTT is near a decade, and we value that. The community here, who are the integral part of our successful journey, is the CIO community here, and we value and we appreciate their support. With that, I'd like to thank once again your INFOCOM as well as the other associated associations we have here. Thank you, and have a great day ahead, and all the best for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. May I now call on stage Mr. Sujit Kulkarni, CEO from Dot One, to share his words.
Can I have the mic? Can I have the mic? No. Okay, hi. Good evening, everyone. As I was thinking of what should I be speaking to this August gathering, one equation came to my mind, and that equation is 10:2:1. And you may be wondering, what am I talking about? And bear with me, I'm just going to tell you. 10 plus decades of leading the cultural conscience of the entire country, and particularly of West Bengal, ABP Group, 10 decades, 100 plus. Fantastic organization. Give them a round of applause, guys. 2 plus decades of being at the cutting edge of innovation and starting this entire journey of getting the organization of variety of organizations and variety of leaders together, INFOCOM. So ladies and gentlemen, please give them a round of applause for their 2 plus decades of association. And the last one is for us, the Dot One Solutions. We are a small little organization based out of Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, but keep coming back to Kolkata because we love the city of joy. We have great association with ABP. Most importantly, we have tremendous patronage in form of any of our customers in this part of the country, and 1 decade of our association with INFOCOM. So thank you very much, guys, for being making us part of this journey. Tonight is about change makers. So please give it a round of applause for those thought leaders who have the audacity to think beyond their times. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you very much, sir. May I now call on stage Mr. Bhaskar Nandi, Regional Sales Director, Sentinel-1, to kindly speak to the August gathering here today. All right, Mr. Nandi, yes, he's here. Put your hands together for Mr. Bhaskar Nandi. Thank you for making these awards possible. Sir.
I think thank you to all of you to make it to this event. This is a great gathering. I think a lot of information being exchanged, a great platform where we come together every year and get a chance to share our idea. Sentinel-1 loves coming to this part of the country. And obviously we have been investing on this country a lot. I think where we have differentiated and understood the country is put a data center in India. We are working with the government of India. We are working with you all and trying to bring more awareness around the security. And I think that makes our association great. Look forward to more interactions, more working together. Thank you so much. Enjoy the evening, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to the next category of awards, but before that, let me request all the awardees to kindly stay back because we are going to have photographs after the entire event is over. So please stay back with your awards so that we can have a group photograph here. So we move on to automation. And may I request Mr. Pradipta Biswas, CFO, ABP, to kindly come forward and give away the awards. We move on to the names of, under the category of automation, Mr. Dina Dayalan Kupia Naidu, Global Head Digital Operations, Kimberly Clark Corporation. May I request you, sir, to kindly come onto the dais to take this award under the category of automation. And here is Mr. Pradipta Biswas, CFO of ABP Private Limited, giving away the award. Keep applauding, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. And heartiest congratulations to you, Mr. Naidu. Our next awardee is Mr. Ram Kumar Mohan, CIO, Airworks India Engineering Private Limited. May I request you, sir, to kindly come onto the dais and take away the award. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir. Our next awardee is Mr. Subrata Roy, Senior GM, Head IT, Skipper Limited. May I request you, sir, to kindly come onto the dais, please. And a round of applause for Mr. Subrata Roy as he walks up to the dais to take his award. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, and heartiest congratulations to you. Our next awardee under this category is Mr. Tejas Shah, Chief Technology Officer, Kalpataru Group SSL Limited. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir. Heartiest congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now move on to the next category of awards, and I will request Mr. Pradipta Biswas to kindly stay here on stage. And the next category is cyber security. I will call out the names. Mr. Biswajit Sen, Group IT Head, SCAG Group of Companies. May I request you to kindly come onto the stage and take away the award from Mr. Pradipta Biswas, who is the CFO of ABP Private Limited. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Our next awardee under this section, under cybersecurity, is Mr. Kaushik Nath, Chief Information Security Officer, ITC Limited. A round of applause for Mr. Kaushik Nath as he walks up to take the award from Mr. Pradipta Biswas. Heartiest congratulations, sir. May I now request Mr. Prakash Kumar Ranjan, Chief Information Security Officer, India Bulls Housing Finance Limited, to kindly come on stage to take the award under this category. And here is Mr. Prakash Kumar Ranjan, Chief Information Security Officer, India Bulls Housing Finance Limited, to take the award under this category of cyber security. Heartiest congratulations, sir. I now request Mr. Surya Bhushan, Head IT and Security Infrastructure, M Junction Services Limited, to kindly come forward to take this award from Mr. Pradipta Biswas, who is the CFO of AVP Private Limited, under the category of cyber security. Heartiest congratulations, sir. May I now request Mr. Swaroop Roy, General Manager IT, Electro Steel Castings Limited, to kindly come forward to receive the award under this category of cyber security. Heartiest congratulations to all the awardees under this section. We will now move on to the next category of awards, Data Center Transformation. I will request Mr. Pradipta Biswas to kindly remain on stage, please, to give away the awards. And I will call out the names of the awardees. Mr. Anil Nama, CIO, Control S Data Centers Limited. A huge round of applause as I welcome Mr. Anil Nama on stage to take away this award from Mr. Pradipta Biswas. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Our next awardee is Mr. Atanu Pramanik, COO and Vice President IT, RPSG Ventures Limited. I request you, sir, to kindly come onto the dais and take the award from Mr. Pradipta Biswas. And a round of applause for Mr. Atanu Pramanik. Under the same category, Data Center Transformation, our next awardee is Mr. Rajiv Roy Chaudhary, Group Head IT, Awadh Sugar and Energy Limited, KK Birla Group. May I request you to kindly come forward, sir, and take away the award from Mr. Pradipta Biswas. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir. And our next awardee under this section is Mr. Sagar Sen, Vice President and Head Business IT, NTT Global Data Centers and Cloud Infrastructure India Private Limited. May I request you, sir, to kindly come to the stage and receive the award. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir, for receiving this award under the category Data Center Transformation. Congratulations, sir. And I would like to request Mr. Pradipta Biswas to kindly take his seat in the auditorium. Thank you for doing the honors of giving away the awards for all these categories. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now move on to the next category of awards, the digital transformation. And I will request Mr. Suman Banerjee, CHRO of AVP Private Limited, to kindly come forward to present the awards. Mrs. Suman Banerjee will be presenting the awards under the category of digital transformation. I will call out the names of the awardees. Mr. Arindam Hari, Head of Information Technology, Gainwell Commercials Private Limited. May I request you, sir, to kindly come onto the dais and take the award. Here he is, walking up, all smiles. And a round of applause for Mr. Arindam Hari as he comes forward to receive the award under the category of digital transformation. Heartiest congratulations to you, sir. May I request Mr. Durga Madhav Mohanty, Senior Vice President, Birla Corporation Limited, to kindly come forward to receive the award under this category, Digital Transformation, from Mr. Suman Banerjee, CHRO, ABP Private Limited. Heartiest congratulations. May I now request Manishi Chatterjee, General Manager IT, IDBI Bank Limited, to kindly come forward to receive the award under this category, Digital Transformation. Manishi Chatterjee will be with us later maybe. I will go on to the next awardee, Mr. Prasenjit Mukherjee, CIO and CDO, JWIL Infra Limited. May I request you to kindly come forward and receive the award from Mr. Suman Banerjee. We will now move on to the next category of awards, that is innovation. I will request Mr. Suman Banerjee to remain on stage. I will call out the names of the awardees. Mr. Alok Majumdar, Vice President Technology, Hoi Choi Technologies Private Limited. May I request Mr. Alok Majumdar to kindly come forward, and a round of applause for him as I invite him onto the dais to take away the award from Mr. Suman Banerjee. Heartiest congratulations, sir. Our next awardee is Dr. Sushil Kumar Meher, Head Health IT, AIMS, New Delhi. May I request you, sir, to kindly come forward, please. And here is Dr. Sushil Kumar Meher receiving the award under the category of innovation from Mr. Suman Banerjee. Heartiest congratulations, sir. May I now request Mr. Manoj Kumar Behera, General Manager IT, Odisha Power Transmission Corporation Limited, to kindly come forward to receive the award under innovation category. And here is Mr. Suman Banerjee, CHRO of ABP Private Limited, presenting the award to Mr. Manoj Kumar Behera. Thank you and heartiest congratulations. I will now request Mr. Sumit Dattagupta, Group CIO and Head Information Systems, Synergy and Digital Transformation, Haldia Petrochemicals Limited, to kindly come forward to receive the award. Heartiest congratulations. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the awards, but I will request Mr. Suman Banerjee to remain on stage. I will request Mr. Pradipta Biswas to kindly come forward, please. We have a lifetime award, and this is for Mr. V. Ranganathan Iyer from JBM Group. May I request you to kindly come forward, please, to receive the award. Heartiest congratulations, sir. I will request both Mr. Pradipta Biswas and Mr. Suman Banerjee to stay on stage. I will request the awardees of the automation category to kindly come forward for a photo opportunity here on stage. Automation, yes, with the awards, please. With your awards and certificates. The category of automation, all the awardees. There are more to come. This is automation, automation, automation. Only automation. Automation. Thank you, and a round of applause for the awardees from the automation category. Next, we would like to invite the cybersecurity category awardees. Cybersecurity, please bring your awards and your certificates with you for a photo opportunity. Thank you. We next come to the data center transformation category. Data center transformation category. All the awardees from the data center transformation category, may I request all of you to kindly come onto the stage for a photo opportunity with Mr. Pradipta Biswas and Mr. Suman Banerjee. I will request all the awardees to kindly stay back because we have one huge photograph, the group photograph that we're going to take after this. So after everyone is done, we are going to have the group photograph with all the awardees. Thank you. May I request the awardees from digital transformation to kindly come forward and request all the other awardees to kindly remain seated. We will have a group photograph after this. The awardees from digital transformation. the awardees from Digital Transformation.
Because when he came to give, I called both of them together.
Heartiest congratulations.
I now am confused. क्या कर रही थी? Digital transformation has happened. What?
May I request the awardees from Innovation to kindly come forward. The awardees from Innovation. May I request the awardees from Innovation to kindly come forward for a photo opportunity. And after this, I will request all the awardees to kindly come forward. Yes, I would like to request all the awardees who had got the Lifetime Award to kindly come forward, please. The Lifetime Award, and I would like to request Mr. Dhruba Mukherjee.
He's not here.
He's not here. Okay. We'll request all the members of the Lifetime Award to kindly stay. I'm going to request all the others, from all the other categories, to kindly come on stage for a group photograph. Yes, with your certificates, and that would be really great if you can bring your certificates along with you while you are taking this picture. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let me also inform you that since you have to carry back your certificates, the boxes are all there in the backstage. So you will probably have to be helped with those boxes, which will be carrying. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and heartiest congratulations to each one of you. We will see you again. Thank you. We will see you. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. We'd like to thank all the awardees and also thank Mr. Pradipta Biswas and Mr. Suman Banerjee for doing the honors of the awards. Mr. Dhruva Mukherjee was also there in the beginning. Thanks to him as well. And thank you to each one of you. Please join us for dinner now. But tomorrow at 8 a.m., please be there for the Art of Living class. This is about how to train your mind in a world of chaos. This would be really good for you. And then we start with our third day of our event, INFOCOM Calcutta 2023, tomorrow. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. Where is the venue? Where is it? Here. So 8 a.m. you'll be in this hall for that Art of Living class. So everyone, have a great night ahead and enjoy your dinner. Good night.